stand Ice Cube.
That's crazy.
I'm not a fan of him lyrically or acting wise.
Suckers usually don't like me. You know what I'm saying? Everybody got their opinion, and they all stink. You know what I'm saying? So,
how much time we got left here? Because should I just tell him to leave now?
The temperature jumped fast when Aries Spears decided to speak boldly on Ice Cube, because when a comedian steps into the lane of a hip-hop icon, the culture watches heavy. Aries has built a reputation on fearless talk, sharp delivery, and not backing down when opinions start flying. So when he tried Ice Cube publicly with pointed commentary and that signature sarcastic edge, it wasn't some quiet side remark. It had tone, it had energy, it had that vibe that says, I'm not scared of legacy. And that alone made the timeline shake.
He said...
what'd he say?
He said it was nothing about you impresses him. From movies to rapping, nothing at all impresses him. And I'm like, wow, like what?
Suckers usually don't like me. You know what I'm saying? Like the people that you know, they usually don't like me when they coming from that angle. That's cool though. You know, everybody got their opinion, and they all stink. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, it's cool. You know, he entitled to his opinion. It's the feeling is mutual. You know, I don't think he on anybody's list of top 10 comedians. You know what I mean? In the black community for sure. I don't even know if he's on the register.
Ice Cube isn't just a rapper. He's a pillar. He's West Coast history, film success, political voice, and cultural respect wrapped into one name. Challenging a name like that carries weight automatically. Aries didn't whisper. He leaned in. His comments cut with humor, but still landed serious. That's what made this explode. Humor disarms people, but when it carries pride underneath, it turns into confrontation disguised as comedy. The streets caught that immediately.
I think that
One of the songs I hate the most, if it comes on, I want to shoot the radio. Today was a good day. The comments. Now, when people talk about, you ask anybody, no matter where their region, you know, give me a top 5 rappers. Pac's usually always in that list. Right. I don't ever put Pac up there with...
Clips began circulating, comment sections lit up. Some fans said Aries crossed a line. Others said comedy doesn't have sacred cows. That split is what fueled everything, because once the culture divides, momentum builds. This wasn't about screaming or chaos. It was about tone and positioning. Aries wasn't speaking like a fan. He was speaking like a peer. That shift in tone made the whole situation feel bigger than it probably would have been if it stayed light.
Joke. He goes, here's Ice Cube as a gynecologist. Hey, Miss Jenkins, I looked at your chart. Now get up on that thigh.
That's racist. I don't know how it's racist, but what you just...
Then came the real twist. The moment 50 Cent appeared to step into the conversation, the temperature doubled. 50 is known for reacting fast when drama hits the air. He doesn't sit quiet when tension surfaces, especially if his name or someone he respects gets pulled into the mix. His involvement didn't need to be loud to be powerful. Even subtle commentary from him feels strategic. That's his brand.
Not the greatest lyricist. He was energy. He was passion. He made you feel him. If that said, tear the club up, you wanted to tear the club up. Dear mama, you wanted to hug your mama. When you think about lyricism, Nas, Jay-Z, Biggie, Jadakiss, my lyrics spit.
Now, the story wasn't just Aries versus Cube. It became Aries versus hip-hop heavyweight energy. That dynamic shift is what made this headline level, because 50 doesn't move randomly. When he shows up in a conversation, people assume there's intention behind it. Whether it was defense, sarcasm, or calculated trolling, his presence amplified the situation instantly.
The poster child for the world's biggest hater. If you look up the word hate, it's my picture. When did we get to a point where, unless your opinion, and last time I checked as human beings, we're all allowed to opinions. At what point does it get to where, unless your opinion is favorable about a person or a thing and goes with the flow of everyone else, you're a hater? I don't understand that. He sent me a clip where Ice Cube responded. He was on a radio show and the dude played him the snippet. And the first thing Ice Cube says is, well, most suckers don't like me. Then he goes on to say, I never heard of this dude. Then he finishes by saying, well, he's just not funny. Well, you can't have it both ways. If you don't know who I am, how do you know if I'm funny or not? So you can't have it
The streets love personality clashes. Aries brings comedy confidence. Cube brings legacy authority. 50 brings calculated dominance. Those three energies in one storyline feel cinematic. That's why this didn't die in one news cycle. It had layers. It had pride. It had positioning. At its core, this first wave of tension was about respect. Who gets to critique who publicly? Who gets to joke about who without consequence? And how far can humor stretch before it turns into confrontation? Aries clearly decided he wasn't intimidated, and that boldness alone sparked a cultural moment that felt loud even without anyone raising their voice. The spotlight locked in quick, and once the spotlight locks in, every word becomes fuel.
It was on when I'm just watching. Music. All of it.
Movies, all of it.
Yeah. I never really seen Ice Cube in films that weren't his.
Mm.
You know, like he kind of produced the vehicle that he was in. And it wasn't like he was just being an actor in someone else's.
As the narrative gained traction, it stopped being about one comment and started becoming about hierarchy and entertainment. Because when someone challenges a respected figure like Ice Cube, it's not just about the joke, it's about the perceived order of things. Cube stands tall in hip-hop history. His name carries decades of impact. Aries stepping into that space with sharp commentary felt like poking at a monument. And monuments don't get poked without reaction.
For the record, I respect Ice Cube, the man. I respect Ice Cube in terms of what he's brought to the game. He's one of the pioneers. So hats off to him. And I wasn't a fan of his artistry. I never attacked him as a man. I never attacked him in terms of his character. I said I wasn't a fan of his artistry. Why am I not allowed to feel that way? Why is that? And then secondly, it's always funny. People call me a hater because they love to highlight when I say I don't like something as though I don't have love for it.
The interesting part is how controlled the energy remained. There were no reckless threats, no chaotic spirals, just sharp exchanges and confident positioning. That's what made it compelling instead of messy. Aries used humor as armor. Cube's legacy stood as silent weight. And then 50's calculated presence added an edge that felt strategic rather than emotional. 50 Cent's reputation plays a huge role here. He has mastered the art of trolling without overextending. When he enters drama, it often feels like chess, not checkers. So when he appeared in this storyline, fans immediately started analyzing motive. Was it loyalty? Was it entertainment? Was it opportunity to dominate another narrative? That analysis kept engagement high. Social media amplified everything. Screenshots, clips, reaction videos, commentary breakdowns. Every sentence got dissected, tone got analyzed, even pauses got interpreted. That's how modern culture works. Nothing stays simple. Everything becomes layered. What made this situation powerful was pride. Aries showed pride in his voice. Cube represents pride in his legacy. 50 embodies pride in dominance. When pride meets pride publicly, tension feels inevitable. It doesn't require shouting, it just requires presence. The culture thrives on moments where strong personalities collide without crossing destructive lines. That's exactly what this felt like. It was sharp but controlled, heated but smart. That balance kept it trending without turning toxic. Some fans viewed Aries as bold, others saw him as reckless. Some believed 50 stepping in showed solidarity, others saw it as strategic amplification. That diversity of opinion kept the narrative alive, and once narratives start feeding themselves, they don't die quickly. They simmer, they evolve, they wait for the next move. This situation highlighted how public commentary in 2025 carries instant consequence. One clip can reshape perception overnight. Aries likely understood that stepping into this arena would draw heavy attention, but stepping in anyway signaled confidence. Confidence always sparks reaction, especially when directed toward icons, and reaction keeps the culture loud. As days passed, the conversation matured into something deeper than just clapbacks. It became about boundaries between comedy and hip-hop power structures. Aries represents a world where nothing is off-limits in humor. Hip-hop icons represent a world where respect is sacred. When those worlds collide, friction feels natural. Ice Cube's legacy isn't fragile, it's fortified. But when someone publicly critiques or jokes about that legacy with edge, fans instinctively defend it. That defense isn't always logical, it's emotional. Cube stands as an untouchable figure in many eyes. Aries challenging that perception shifted the emotional balance. 50's involvement added modern energy to a legacy debate. He represents the new school business mind within hip-hop. His presence suggested that this wasn't just a generational debate, it was cross-generational tension. Old school respect meets modern strategic response. The situation never spiraled into chaos, which is important. It stayed verbal. It stayed within the lanes of commentary and response. That containment gave it staying power because the moment drama crosses into destruction, the narrative shifts. Here, it remained sharp but cultural. Fans continued dissecting every public movement. Did Cube respond directly? Did 50 add more fuel? Did Aries double down? Every small update reignited conversation. The streets appreciate boldness. Even critics respect someone who stands firm in their words. Aries didn't retreat. That firmness made him look confident to supporters and stubborn to critics. Either way, it kept him central in the storyline. This saga also reflects how quickly power dynamics shift publicly. A comedian can challenge a rap icon, and within hours, it becomes a culture-level headline. That's modern entertainment. Hierarchies blur, platforms equalize, voices amplify. At the same time, legacy still matters. Cube's name carries weight that doesn't evaporate because of one comment. 50's dominance and narrative control remains intact. Aries' fearlessness remains his brand. So the tension exists without anyone truly losing position. That balance makes the story feel competitive rather than catastrophic. Competitive tension keeps people watching, and watching keeps the spotlight bright. When everything is broken down clearly, this entire situation highlights how pride, positioning, and public commentary shape culture in real time. Aries Spears stepping up to Ice Cube verbally signaled that comedy doesn't bow automatically to hip-hop royalty. That bold move alone created waves. Then 50 Cent's quick presence reminded everyone that narratives don't unfold without counter-energy. This wasn't about violence, it wasn't about chaos, it was about words carrying weight. In today's world, words travel faster than records. They travel faster than interviews. A few sharp lines can spark thousands of reactions within minutes. Ice Cube stands as legacy authority. Aries stands as fearless humor. 50 stands as strategic dominance. Those identities clashing created a perfect storm of attention. Nobody screamed, nobody spiraled, but everyone felt the tension. That tension is what makes moments like this stick. They feel unscripted. They feel organic. They feel real. Pride is authentic, and authenticity keeps audiences engaged. The culture learned something here. No one is untouchable in public discourse anymore. Platforms level the playing field, but legacy still commands respect. Balancing those two forces requires finesse. Whether this cools off quietly or sparks another exchange down the line, the impact is already stamped. It reminded everyone that in entertainment, respect is negotiated publicly and confidence shapes narrative. The streets will keep watching. Because when strong personalities collide, there's always a chance for another spark. If this breakdown kept you locked in from start to finish, make sure you like the video and subscribe so you don't miss the next clash, reaction, or headline the culture can't stop debating. The spotlight never rests. It just shifts to the next big moment.